ntị ekenekwa m n'ụbọchị nke tata biko enwere one lady na-eme ihe Biafra wee mafia bụ Susan Mountain ihe na-akpọ ya nwanne Donald Trump. So enwere video me about the Biafran Remembrance Day. So I've been seeing that lady's video so man tata actually me pick interest ebe ọnụ. So chọkene m kunu pay attention kunu nụ ihe nwanne Donald Trump kan si akpọ ya cool maka because ọ dịzị nnọọ ka ndị ọcha aka ya tell history anyị karịa modern ndị be anyị nọ anọ because na a lot of Igbo content creators, Igbo creators did not make a video about Biafran Remembrance Day. Ụfọdụ echetara na mgbe ndị na page this lady ihe nọ na post Biafra date nka history even mgbe ahụ mgbe Gowon release okwukwala okwu ma mgbe the BBC said I made documentary, all those things she has been speaking about it. And when I say because enwelo den dan like 3 or 4 5 ndo cha do to magone kunite ha this and ojoji ma when you na n'ime anwanyi ka obu nwanyi ozo mfukwa na-ekwu ihe maka Igbo well bụkwa one about politics bụkwa one lady no Instagram o ka afia Vivian ka ọ gị chifu na ma fadale onye nke bụ nwanyi o he bịa Mogo be pick interest na ọbụkwa ndị anụ na-agha ala dị Nigeria na-achọ ndị ha ya ebuli ego ndị ha ya anala ego DOA ka ọ bụ DCA ha na-aza agbaga si na ha je court while most of them na ha banwe ime court tomorrow wala camera na aba mba nke ndị kwe ma ndị ekwe na ọ bụrụ ya ka m bịala this lady nwe special just nene kene na ihe okwu biko nnecha tire na ihe unu ghọta na comment section ka ọ dịkwa.
Hi Biafrans. This is Susan Mount, the Lioness, coming on live. I just want to honor all of the fallen Biafran heroes this day. I guess people don't really understand what this day means. This day is a very sacred day, because many people, and I'm talking in the millions, have lost their lives in what they call a civil war in Nigeria, but we call it a Biafran genocide. And we call it that for a lot of reasons with a lot of evidence. We know Biafrans are targeted in Nigeria. We know Nigeria has failed. We know Nigeria has been hijacked by terrorists and terrorist sponsors, and I'm talking jihad terrorists. There's 5+ jihadi groups in Nigeria. Biafrans are hated the most in Nigeria because they do not want jihad. They want a free society. They want what Biafra was before Britain came in and sided with the jihadis and created a country and forced non-Islamic Sharia believing people together with Sharia law believing people. Not only did Britain do that, but Britain also helped them gain full power in Nigeria. And we know that once they get into power, they do not allow anybody else into power. And since then, there has not been any voting that is fair. There has not been anything that's been fair for Biafrans. And by the way, Biafrans, how do you like my hat? It says, "Make Biafra Great Again." And we believe that Nigeria, because it has been infiltrated by terrorists and terrorist sponsors, both in the government, military, and police, because we all know that this is the mode of operation for terrorists. Since 1967 and beyond, and even way before, since 1914 and up till now, we know that Igbos have been marginalized. And we know that they do not want jihad terrorists to rule their country or rule over them, because they were free before Britain came. They think more democratic and more free like we do here in America. Then here comes Britain in 1914, and they decide that they want something from this country, so they side with the jihads because we know Nigeria has been part of a jihad for centuries. They sided with the jihadis and the people that want jihad, and they allowed them to become in power in the government. And since then, Biafrans have suffered. The Nigerian government does not even want to hear Biafrans and why they want to not have Sharia law in Nigeria. But we do. I've been standing alongside Biafrans for 8 years now. And I just want to tell you my little story, how I came upon Biafra. So I'm a Christian, and I started studying the Christian genocide going on in Nigeria, because that's another genocide going on. And in talking to several Christians that have suffered in Nigeria, I came upon the Biafran flag, and a lot of people saying, we want to be free from jihadis, and we're Christians, and we want to be free from jihadis, and they were Biafrans. So I started intermingling and talking to people on ground in Biafra land, and I learned about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and how he has led the Biafran cause in a positive way. So I started praying, and I asked God, please, is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu a good person to follow? And I started watching and listening to his broadcasts. And next thing I knew, he was in total alignment with me as an American citizen. He wants freedom. He wants prosperity. He wants to be free from terrorists. He wants people doing good and not be poor. And all because he wanted this and started exposing what the Nigerian government has been doing to Biafrans for years and years and years. From a radio station that he created, the Nigerian government started going after him. And the Nigerian government is good at going after Biafrans and illegally detaining them, or falsely accusing them of being terrorists when they defend themselves against actual jihad terrorists. And I've done my homework. I've got clips and evidence and all kinds of articles with things coming directly out of the mouth of the Nigerian government. I have all of this evidence. And I just want to honor the fallen heroes between 1967 and 70, because Biafra and beyond, because Biafra is still being attacked to this day. Nigeria has created Operation Safe Corridor, where they actually forgive terrorists that have already waylaid a whole atrocity on people and slaughtered people. And recently, there was a camera crew that went into one of these actual Boko Haram detention centers and found out that Boko Haram so-called repentant terrorists got to leave the detention center and go fight alongside Nigerian military with AK-47s. And they are free to come and go as they please. All while innocent people like Biafrans and Christians who wanted to defend themselves are languishing in prisons and didn't slaughter anybody. I find this very telling of the Nigerian government, and I have called government in my country to let them know of everything that's going on, or try to educate them on everything that's going on in Nigeria, because our US dollars are going to Nigeria, and we cannot trust the government, because the government is helping the terrorists, all while illegally detaining innocent people. So this is some facts that I found, because we know Nigeria is coming after Biafrans with impunity. We know that since 2010 at least, there have been at least 12 to 15 military operations in Biafra land in southeast Nigeria. And that is the most, there's hardly any crimes in Biafra land compared to the rest of the Nigeria, which is very telling of the Nigerian government as well. So I found, according to the Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics, total crimes in the north in Nigeria since at least 2010, 2011 have been 31.1 million, while in the Southeast, it's only been 6.18 million. And I'm sure the crimes in the Southeast were done by the Fulani jihadis. In kidnappings category, in the North, 1,738,144 total kidnappings, which is 15 times more kidnappings than in the Southeast, which is 110,400. Murders in the North, of course, they adopted a low number at only 1,198, which we know that there's more, is at least seven times more than in Southeast. We also know with terrorism and insurgency, with mass displacements, tens of thousands of deaths, suicide bombings, etc., 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 those are located in the North, and the Southeast has zero. So I just want to say, come on here, because not only am I honoring the fallen, because these people, the fallen heroes risk their lives to have freedom from this jihad and freedom from this marginalization. They have tried everything they can to get along with everybody in Nigeria and went along with the status quo. But they can no longer do that. Nigeria has both a Sharia law believing president and presidents before him, and now a Sharia believing law vice president, who we know with evidence has had ties to terrorists. Rubadu, the top security, he has ties to terrorists. We know this, and we are trying to educate our government as much as we can, which we're glad the people in America are opening their eyes. But Biafrans are not just a group called IPOB or a group called ESN. They are a body of people. IPOB means Indigenous People of Biafra. They're actually indigenous to Southeast, and they want to be free from Islamic terror. Their mothers cannot go to farm without being raped. Men cannot go to farm because the Fulani terrorists are allowed to so-called herd their cattle around and ruin people's crops. And while they're doing it, carrying AK-47s, which we thought in Nigeria, the common person cannot own weapons. But I guess it's only applied to Igbos and Biafrans that they can't own weapons. But the northern Fulani herders can have AK-47s. And that's another red flag that Nigeria, the country Nigeria, is a state sponsor of terrorists. There's been terrorists who actually come out online, live, and say that when they graduated school, they were given AK-47s. So we know all this. And we're trying to educate people here in America. And thank God the Christian genocide has opened up a whole Pandora's box. But what I want to know, why has this genocide of over, they say 3 million people, but we know it's close to 5 million people in Southeast Nigeria against Biafrans. Why has this genocide been swept under the rug? Why? And why hasn't this been classified as an actual genocide like other countries who have experienced way less slaughter? Biafrans need a voice. They have a voice. They need a voice. The Civil War was back in 1967 to 1970. They fought the hardest battle to free themselves from jihad, but they did not have the world's support like they should have had. We want to change this. Biafrans deserve to be free. Nigeria government, I am Susan Mount, an American born and raised citizen. You hear me, you see me. This is not AI. We want Biafra great again. We want Biafra great again. Enough of this supporting terrorists and Sharia law. And Britain, enough. Enough is enough. Biafran needs free. People did not lose their lives in vain between 67 and 70 up until now. I remember when Biafrans were celebrating President Trump's first term election, and the Nigerian government came and started beating people up and arresting people. And there were some evidence of people being killed too, even though the media would not report that. There's been so many atrocities happen to Biafran people, and it needs to stop. And we are not stopping in America. You heard Mike Arnold. I loved his speech today in honor of the fallen and what he rolled out with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is an innocent man who wants to free his people from jihad, and he has every right to do so. And they have done it. Biafrans never went to the north to invade anybody or slaughter anybody. They are defending themselves in their own land against jihadi terrorists. That's what they are doing. So you cannot name them as terrorists in Nigeria. They are not known as terrorists in the world. They are not. So you can quit that. And with this lobbying group in the U.S., we already know. And you know what? You think you can sit there and borrow money till the cows come home, literally, and use all that money to pay U.S. lobbying groups. Well, I hate to tell you, lobbying groups are getting unpopular here in America, and we're going to make them unpopular here in America, because even though you paid millions to your lobbying group, it is not helping you, because the writing is on the wall. Nigeria government, I'm talking specifically to you. The writing is on the wall. The evidence is there. You have Operation Safe Corridor, which you were supposed to stop, but you never did. But you told our government you did. Trust me, I called our U.S. government, and they told me that, and I said, it has not stopped. And I will share every evidence with our government, believe me. Nigeria government, stop harassing the Biafran people. And we know you've allowed infiltration in your military and police. We know that you send innocent soldiers in Nigeria to be on the front lines and be set up and ambushed. And there's evidence of that. We know of all the pattern of accidental bombings on innocent civilians in Nigeria, predominantly Christian and Biafrans. We have evidence of that. We have evidence of the major operations that you've done in the Southeast versus the North, when the Southeast is a pretty quiet and law-abiding community for the most part. We see that. We see how you marginalize Biafrans, and then you wonder why they want to be free from this with a legal referendum. So I just wanted to get on here, and I'm sorry I'm kind of going in a tangent, but I can't help it. Because to understand the Biafran genocide between 67 and 70, you need to know the whole history of Nigeria. And we saw where one of the British officers also admitted during 1960, during the so-called independence of Nigeria from Britain, that voting was rigged. And we know that the Nigerian government opens the northern border so more Fulanis and Sharia-believing people can cross into the border, and they give them free citizenship so that they start outnumbering the Southeasterners and the Southwesterners, so eventually they can take over elections and political offices. We know that. We have evidence of that. We know that the Nigerian government is not truly using weapons that they so-called buy and get from the U.S. to go after radical Islamic jihadis. We know that, because if they were using that stuff, Boko Haram and all of them would have already been defeated. You wouldn't need the U.S. in Nigeria at all. We know this, and Biafrans expose this every time. And you know what you do in Nigerian government? You come after them once they expose it. So I just want to say, I wasn't really invited to any May 30th festivities, but that's okay, because I want to honor the fallen heroes on here publicly, because I want Biafra great again. and their lives were not in vain. They died for the freedom of their people. And the freedom of their people means so much. And I often say, as an American, that Biafran soldiers during the Civil War were and are as precious to me as the American military men. Because let me tell you something. These radical Islamists that want to take over Biafra land, they want to do that for a reason, not just to kill and slaughter people, but they want a launching pad. They want a pad where they can buy long-range missiles, put nuclear warheads on them because they answer to Middle Eastern terrorists, and lob them over here at Americans. So you can think a Biafran soldier today on May 30th who died in the Biafran genocide to slow the jihadi in Biafra land. You can think, if you're an American, you can thank a Biafran soldier today that helped protect us here in America against jihad. And that is a fact. So I just want to come on here. I want to honor them. I'm going to light this candle. I'm going to light my candle in honor, my white candle, in honor of all of the fallen heroes. And I want to thank all good-willed Biafrans that have sacrificed. I don't care what it was, even if it was just going online to educate somebody. Within your power, you sacrifice something in this struggle. And I'm an American. I support this struggle because Biafrans are just like Americans. And I want Americans, if you're listening to me, imagine this. Imagine we're free in our country. And Britain comes and they allow jihadis to take over our country. They help jihadis take over our country. And they force us to live with Sharia-believing people who they put into power. And we were slaughtered, and we were marginalized, and we had no voice. That's what Biafrans have gone through, and that's what they're going through. And now, imagine our president and vice president. Imagine our president and vice president are both Sharia-believing people. Imagine. And we're Christians and we're being slaughtered in the thousands and thousands and thousands, and nobody comes to our rescue. Imagine that. And that's what's happening in Nigeria to Biafrans, because Biafrans are predominantly Christian or practice Judaism or tradition practices. So imagine that, my fellow Americans. Imagine that. And then you wonder why I'm so in love with Biafrans and why I fight so hard alongside them, because we already know this is their fight. But at the same time, we can support them. We can educate. We can be their voice when they can't be a voice. Because when they come out and try to be a voice, the Nigerian government comes to and slaughters them, literally. There's extrajudicial killings, extrajudicial arrests. I can go on and on and on about everything, but I'm not going to, because you can see my posts, because I will post the evidence almost every day about what's going on. But I'm here to tell you, I want Biafra great again, and the only way for Biafra to be great again is for a referendum. I believe in a legal referendum, and what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, is saying. And I think we all need to unite as a body of people, not no particular groups, because IPOB is not a group. They are a body of people. They're indigenous people of Biafra that are suffering under the Nigerian government, who has been hijacked by Islamic Sharia-believing jihadis. Thank you today, and I appreciate you. And it's been a minute since I've come on here. So, and you already know I'm not good at computers and technology, but believe me, I'm working behind the scenes. I don't just come online to talk. I work behind the scenes, and there's evidence of that. And people know this. People know this, and they know what I've done, and that's okay. I don't have to prove what I've done. I only have to prove to God above, because I'm a good human being standing up for other good human beings. So I honor the fallen heroes on this May 30th, 2026, and I will honor the heroes forevermore. And I just want to thank you all, and keep your head up and your chin up. Just know we love you from America. Thank you, Mike Arnold. Thank you, Rachel in Israel. Thank you, everybody. Whatever you do, even in the littlest capacity, makes a difference. It doesn't matter. You don't need a high status. You don't need a lot of money. You don't need to be an important person high up on a pedestal. What you need to do, whatever's within your power to do, to get up and move. So we move, and we honor those on May 30th. Hopefully I don't choke up and cry, because I already cried this morning. But I honor all fallen Biafran heroes. In the name of Jesus, I pray for the Biafran people, that they get their redemption, they get their freedom, and they have a prosperous life. Amen.